Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, soldiers and civilians of the 63rd Readiness Division, today's ceremony will mark the change of command for the 63rd Readiness Division. Throughout the ceremony, you will be given cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. Today's ceremony is an outdoor event, and military members will remain covered. As a reminder, during the playing of personal honors and honors to our nation, military members will present arms, and our civilian guests should place their right hands over their hearts. My name is Sergeant First Class April Caswell, and I will serve as your narrator for today's ceremony. The host for today's ceremony is Major General Gregory J. Mosier, Deputy Commanding General, United States Army Reserve Command. Today's ceremony will recognize the change of command of the 63rd Readiness Division between Major General Alberto C. Rosende and Major General Miles A. Davis. At this time, we would like to welcome our distinguished guests for today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all special guests have been introduced. The Honorable Antonio Lopez, California State Senator. Mr. Mark Benton, Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army. Mr. Joseph Sweeney, Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army, Emeritus. The Honorable Larry Klein, Mayor of Sunnyvale. Mr. Ron Payne, Representative for U.S. Congressman Eric Swalwell. Major General David Ling, Command General for the 79th Theater Sustainment Command. Command Sergeant Major Peter Trotter, U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command. Major General Jeffrey Coggin, Commanding General, U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations. Major General Retired Robert Austin Berg, previous Commanding General of the 63rd Readiness Division. Major General Retired Eldon Brecqua, California Governor's Military Council. Mr. Phil Stage, Army Reserve Ambassador, California. Mr. James Burnett, Army Reserve Ambassador, California. Mr. Daniel Furtado, Army Reserve Ambassador, California. Brigadier General John Dreska, Commanding General, 311th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. Command Sergeant Major George Lukey, Command Sergeant Major for the 311th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. Brigadier General Isaac Johnson, Commanding General, 351st Civil Affairs Command. Brigadier General Chris Zubik, Incoming Commanding General, 351st Civil Affairs Command. Brigadier General Patricia Wallace, Commanding General for the 91st Training Division. Brigadier General Jed Shardle, DCG, Mobilization and Reserve Affairs. We also would like to recognize the attendance of Major General Rosende's family members in attendance and virtual attendance. Mrs. Martha Rosende and their sons, Alberto III and Diego. The Rosende family is represented today by Juan Carlos Barucho, Martha's brother. Also in attendance is Mrs. Karen Davis, Major General Davis's wife, and their 3 children, Andrew and his wife Gabby. Ian and his wife Amanda and Jennifer are in attendance virtually. The command also extends a warm welcome to all of our special guests, senior leaders, fellow soldiers, friends, and family attending in person and virtually. Please give them all a round of applause. The music for today's ceremony will be provided by the brass quintet of the 191st Army Band, the Band of the Wild West, led by Sergeant First Class Julio Sandoval. Today, Major General Mosier has deferred honors to Major General Rosende in honor of his distinguished service and command. Ruffles and Flourishes is a traditional fanfare music usually performed on drums and bugles. It is a short piece that is played before a ceremonial song in honor of military officials. A Major General will be given musical honors with 2 ruffles and flourishes, followed by the General's March. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, the posting of the colors, and the national anthem. The official party consists of Major General Gregory Mosier, Major General Alberto Rosende, the outgoing commander, and Major General Miles Davis, the incoming commander of the 63rd Readiness Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Sergeant Jessica Batondo, 191st Army Band, the Band of the Wild West, and the invocation by Chaplain Oyama.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave?
Chaplain Colonel K. Oyama, Command Chaplain for the 63rd RD, will now provide the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, we come before you as men and women called to serve. We seek no reward or fame. We pray your grace be upon Major General Miles Davis as he takes the mantle of leadership of this great organization. Give him the courage to stand and hold the shield of faith as he manages those entrusted in his care, who in turn protect our beautiful land. We invoke your blessings on the outgoing commander, Major General Alberto Rosende, and his family as he relinquishes authority. We pray for your continued blessing on him during this next phase of his life. May your presence be with him as he chooses new path and explores new horizons. May he be blessed with strong network of friends and family to enjoy the journey that lies in his future. Lord, keep both families vigorous in body, mind, soul, and spirit. Open new doors of service that will satisfy their desire to give and that will make lasting difference in our world. May they find many receptive hearts and minds for the wisdom they have to offer, and many recipients to receive their love and care. Help all of us present to be faithful, loyal, and honest in defending the honor and glory of this great nation. Grant us wisdom to enable us to make right choices. Help us to seek you in the faces of others, and grant us victory over our enemies. And so, Lord, today and always, we are thankful for what has been, we are thankful for what is, and we are grateful for what is yet to come. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. No officer can successfully command an organization like the 63rd RD without the love and support of their family. In recognition of her support and dedication to the United States Army and the nation, a bouquet of red roses will be sent to Mrs. Martha Rosende, spouse of the outgoing commander, Major General Rosende. Unfortunately, Mrs. Rosende was not able to join us in person today, but is watching the ceremony live. Presentation to Mrs. Rosende is a token of our appreciation for years of support to her husband and to the United States Army Reserve. Red roses represent the lasting bonds of loyalty and affection between Mrs. Rosende and the soldiers and families she has served. You will always have a home in the 63rd RD and the Army Reserve. A bouquet of yellow roses is presented to Mrs. Karen Davis, spouse of the incoming commander, Major General Davis. The yellow roses represent the soldiers of the command extending a warm welcome to Mrs. Davis as she assumes this important role in the Army Reserve family. Mrs. Davis, we welcome you to the command. We trust you will enjoy the adventure, and we wish you all the best. The formation to the left represents a portion of the over 1,200 soldiers and civilians that make up the 63rd Readiness Division. The formation is composed of soldiers from the Mission Command Support Group and the Headquarters Detachment, 63rd Readiness Division. They are led today by Colonel Gerald Hall, Chief of Staff. The Headquarters 63rd Readiness Division traces its lineage to the 63rd Infantry Division during World War II. The 63rd Infantry Division was activated on 15 June 1943 at Camp Blanding, Florida. Arriving in Marseille, France on 8 December 1944, the division fought gallantly in the German Rhineland and Central European campaigns. By the end of the war, the division had participated in 3 battle campaigns. In its infantry regiments have been awarded 2 Medals of Honor, 7 Distinguished Unit Awards, Presidential Unit Citations, and a French Croix de Guerre with palm. The 63rd Infantry Division was deactivated on 27 September 1945. The 63rd Infantry Division was reactivated in February 1952 and assigned to the Army Reserve, with headquarters in Los Angeles, California. The division was again deactivated in December 1965, and the colors were transferred to the 63rd Reinforcement Training Unit. On 1 January 1968, the division was reactivated and redesignated as the 63rd Army Reserve Command, based at Los Alamitos, California. From 1990 through 1991, over 2,500 Army Reserve soldiers from the 63rd Army Reserve Command served on active duty in support of Operations Desert Storm and Shield. 22 of the command's units were mobilized, with 14 of them deploying to the Persian Gulf. In April 1995, the 63rd was redesignated the 63rd Regional Readiness Command. The 63rd maintained command and control of 14,000 soldiers and 140 units in the states of California, Arizona, and Nevada, and assumed additional responsibility to support the major functional reserve commands within its area. The 63rd Regional Readiness Command supported both foreign and domestic active Army missions, including participation in NATO operations in Bosnia and Kosovo. Since 2001, soldiers from the 63rd Regional Readiness Command served in Afghanistan and Iraq. In December 2009, the 63rd and 90th Regional Readiness Commands were combined to form the 63rd Regional Support Command with its new headquarters at Moffett Field, California. The 63rd Regional Support Command provided base operations support and administrative support to over 45,000 Army Reserve soldiers in 198 facilities. The 63rd RSC was redesignated the 63rd Readiness Division on 17 October 2018, retaining the lineage and heritage of the 63rd Infantry Division. The 63rd RD also provides base operations, mission, administrative, and logistical support, enabling commanders and units to maximize resources and focus on readiness, training, mobilizing, and deploying. The 63rd RD exercises mission command over assigned units, ensuring soldiers and units are fully mission capable and trained. The 63rd RD operates an annual budget in excess of $100 million, manages 131 micro installations, and supports 43,000 soldiers across the 7 states of California, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. Ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now move forward for the passing of the colors. From the earliest times, leaders used a banner or other symbols to identify themselves and to serve as a rallying point for their warriors. For the modern-day soldier, their unit's colors still serve such a purpose. The colors have traditionally been at the side of the commander and were carried forward even when the commander fell in combat. All others may perish, but the colors live on. It's the colors which record the unit's history, its glories, its battles, and its campaigns. The passing of the colors from the outgoing commander to the incoming commander symbolizes the transfer of command. The senior non-commissioned officer of the organization is traditionally responsible for maintenance and care of the colors. Therefore, Command Sergeant Major Patrick McKee will pass the colors to Major General Rosende as his last official act as his Command Sergeant Major, and grateful for the opportunity to have served with him as a command team. Major General Rosende. Major General Rosende will then pass the 63rd RD colors to Major General Mosier, relinquishing his command in gratitude for the opportunity to lead and serve the soldiers of the 63rd RD. The handoff of the colors is symbolic of the transfer of command. Major General Mosier will then transfer the colors to Major General Davis, entrusting him with the responsibility and care of the unit. By authority of Army Regulation 600-20, the undersigned assumes command of the 63rd Readiness Division, effective 5 November 2021. Signed, Major General Miles A. Davis, United States Army Reserve, commanding. Major General Davis passes the colors back to Command Sergeant Major, signifying his trust and confidence in the leaders and soldiers of the organization, completing the change of command. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my honor to introduce Major General Gregory J. Mosier, Deputy Commanding General, United States Army Reserve Command.
Thank you for that, and good morning, everyone. Good morning to the Honorable Antonio Lopez, Mr. Benton, Mr. Sweeney, Honorable Larry Klein, Mr. Ron Payne. Thank you all for being here. And those of you that are here with us today or online, other distinguished guests, really a great morning to be here. I have to say, this is just an awesome day. Every time I come out to Southern California, actually this isn't Southern California, out on the West Coast, I always enjoy coming out here to California. Just the weather is like no other. I grew up in North Dakota and Minnesota, so the times I've spent out here, I always like coming out here. So we're going to recognize Major General Al Rosende for his accomplishments and successes today as the commander of the 63rd Readiness Division. We're going to welcome Major General Miles Davis as the incoming commander. As many of you know, the top priorities of our commanding general and chief of the Army Reserve, Lieutenant General Jody Daniels, are people, readiness. They are the ones who accomplish the critical work that ensures units are ready and capable to conduct their wartime missions. So we as leaders must foster a mindset of teamwork, continuous learning, and growth so that our soldiers desire to continue service in the Army Reserve. Readiness remains paramount. We must focus on junior leader development because they are our leaders of tomorrow. We continue to develop ready and resilient soldiers, dedicated leaders, and capable units to support the Army and the Joint Force. Modernization. It's necessary to drive our processes and systems to support operations in the multi-domain environment. We have to be able to mobilize quickly and employ the necessary capabilities to fight and win our nation's wars. If you are not familiar with the 63rd Readiness Division, it's a geographic command. It's one of 4 readiness divisions in the Army Reserve. And as you heard, they provide soldier and family support, facilities and facility support, equipment maintenance support, and resource management for 7 states in the southwestern region. It is truly an intrinsic and indispensable regional partner that embraces change and leverages the talents, agility, and innovation of its workforce to provide unsurpassed support to soldiers and units as they train for the future fight. When I think of the 63rd Readiness Division, I recall a quote from now late Colin Powell, who said, "When everyone is united in purpose, you have a winning team." The 63rd Readiness Division is a winning team. I know this in part because I know Al Rosende, and that's just the kind of person he is. When the team's up against it, the brakes are beating the team, he'll always get the team in there with all they've got and win just more for the challenge. Many of you will recognize echoes of what I just said from a famous line in the 1940s film about George Gibb. But it's not meant to be so much a humorous quote, but more to reflect on the powerful talent of inspiration that Al has provided to teams throughout his career, and most notably to the team here at the 63rd. No matter the challenges and the obstacles, the 63rd Readiness Division always got the job done. And during the last 2 years, Al Rosende and the 63rd Readiness Division have faced significant challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic, Winter Storm Uri, which cast Texas into a deep freeze just this last February and caused $22.5 billion in damage. Multiple hurricanes and tropical storms and wildfires that ravaged over 10 million acres. While in command, Al's decisive leadership and dedication were critical to the division's success. It's always a great day when he sought out the friction points and used his commander's oil can to go out and grease those points to solve problems. He recognized COVID-19 as a serious and immediate issue. And so he developed policies that protected military and civilian workforce while he implemented training mechanisms such as our virtual battle assemblies and protective measures such as telework. He also coordinated with the U.S. Installation Management Command to promote effective health protection levels for garrisons and reserve locations in order to support unit commanders as they attempted to continue in-person training activities where possible. Anyone that has met Al knows and cannot deny that he is a people person. And when natural disasters occurred, Al ensured every soldier was accounted for. He took a personal interest in every soldier's situation, ensuring that any displaced soldiers and families were safe. In addition, he did the tough work of collaborating with local, state, and federal agencies to provide key support to impacted communities. On top of all these challenges, the 63rd continued down the road to awesome and provided excellent support to operational units. Al is clearly a strong leader, but his wife Martha, Martha, I'm glad you're watching us online. Sorry you couldn't be here today. But she may be even stronger than Al because they just recently celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary. So not only has she supported Al, she's maintained a career of her own this entire time. The two of them, as you've heard, have raised two sons. Alberto, who's a working actor on NBC's Chicago Fire. Diego, who works in film production, he's working on a Netflix show that's soon to be aired, I'm told. And I can assure you that he is so proud of his children because whenever we would start talking about, it didn't really seem to matter what the topic was. Somehow it turned to Chicago Fire. Out would come the phone, right? Here's my son, here's what he's doing. I know I'm kind of kidding now, but we all do that. But it's fabulous. It is true. But I feel so proud of them myself. I was never a Chicago Fire fan until now. I go around, hey, look, I know that person, right? Or at least I know his dad. Martha's been a strong supporter of the Army Reserve and its soldiers. She volunteered with the Red Cross, supported California with its response to the wildfires during the summer of 2020, and deployed to Tennessee to help in flood recovery. She's also a strong advocate and volunteer for the 63rd's Family Readiness Group. So Martha, a sincere thank you to you for your sacrifice and for standing by Al for all these years. I know it's not always easy, but your support has been vital, and we truly appreciate it greatly. I know Martha and Al's two sons are joining us online, as are many other family members they have from California, Illinois, Texas, and Florida. So Al, your command tenure not only highlights an incredible career achievement, it also serves to acknowledge, celebrate, and underscore the support of family, colleagues, and friends, as well as the soldiers, officers, and non-commissioned officers and civilians who helped prepare you for the honor and distinction of commanding one of the Army Reserves, and in fact the entire Army's critically important commands. You've demonstrated what it means to go down the road to awesome. You're a model of leadership and inspiration that will be long remembered. Congratulations on a job well done. Now, Miles, congratulations on your selection as the next commander of the 63rd Readiness Division. You now have the critical task of leading this important command into the future. General Davis is no stranger to serving in large organizations. He recently finished a command tenure with the 76th Operational Response Command in Salt Lake City. But he started his career as a private first class, where he served on active duty in Germany. And after returning from Germany, he started his officer career with a commission from the Eastern Michigan University ROTC program. And since that humble start, Miles has had 6 different command positions and accumulated over 15 years of command experience. I would like to take a minute to recognize Miles' family. As you know, his wife Karen is here with us. They've been married since 1985, so you can do the math there. Yeah, it's 36. That's right, Alan. You just said that. Karen is an orthopedic nurse, as well as an exceptional cook and decorator. I was just visiting with Miles and Karen before this. She's going to actually be working right here at the local hospital. And so congratulations, thank you for being here. Virtually with us today are their 3 children, Andrew, Ian, and Jennifer. They've got 5 grandchildren and 1 on the way in February that Karen has already got the weekend saved for, so she can go home and make sure she is attending to their newest grandchild in just a few months. But Miles, the burden of command is now yours. And although it can be heavy, by providing purpose and creating unity, your team's successes will make it lighter. And at the risk of drawing too much on Colin Powell, I would like to offer this quote of his as you step into command. Leadership is the art of accomplishing more than the science of management says is possible. That speaks of inspiration. It speaks of vision and motivation. It speaks of the same people-first direction that our Army espouses today. Miles, I know you're up to the challenge of leading the outstanding men and women of the 63rd Readiness Division. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this event. Thanks again to all of you for being here. We are ready now and shaping tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Army Reserve Ambassador Phil Stage will now present Major General Rosende with a farewell gift in appreciation of his support to the Army Reserve Ambassador Program.
Well, thank you for that. First of all, congratulations on a great command and a soon-to-be retirement. I have to say that the Army Reserve Ambassadors collectively were shocked and amazed to hear that you were leaving. But we were also very glad to hear that you were moving to Texas. So you're still going to be part of the 63rd family. But you know, we have big influence from those ARAs in Texas. And they said, well, where's he moving in Texas? Well, San Antonio. Well, there's a bunch of ARAs in Texas. There's also this little place, you know, this little fort that they fought over a long time ago. So they recommended that we would have this special, unique reward for you as a remembrance and memento of the 63rd. So we all voted. And Dan Furtado got voted out, but I won't say anything about that. And so what we have is a Bowie knife, and that went with the fort that was down there in San Antonio. And there's a nice picture of that fort. But what I'd like to say to Major General and Mrs. Alberto Rosende, for your continued service above self from the 63rd Ambassador Team, blood and fire. So, sir, Yeah. And thank you for your continued service. Thank you. I think Dan had some comments about your wife as well. Please, absolutely.
I'm accompanied by Ambassador Jim Burnett from Southern California. So General Rosende, let me echo some of the comments that were made earlier, and we thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we respect your leadership and your ability to inspire leadership in the leaders under you as well. But I'm here this morning also, as was mentioned earlier, to address the 4-star member of the family, and that is your wife, Mrs. Martha Rosende. She has been extremely supportive to the 63rd and to the Army Reserve, but I also wanted to especially call your attention to the fact that she was the major coordinator for our family readiness group. And over a period of time, she sponsored a number of virtual conferences with a number of excellent good speakers to keep us up to date in many aspects of family support and how that has changed over the year and the resources that are available to families now that were not available before. There were regular newsletters that she was responsible for, as well as other elements of the Family Readiness Group responsibilities. And I'd like to thank her and recognize her especially for that. And once again, wish both you, General, and Mrs. Rosende and your family much success and a very successful retirement. Thank you, sir.
Well, I was told about 10 seconds ago I get to say a few words about General Rosende, but I'll just take a quick minute to say thank you to him and to General Davis and the entire USARC team. Being an Army Reserve Ambassador is a real gift, and I often speak in front of recruiters across the country, and all of you sitting here today and standing here today, if you don't think you're changing people's lives, you're in the wrong business. So my thanks to General Rosende for his friendship, his leadership, his wife Martha, and his boys Alberto and Diego. Just wish you the very best, sir, in your retirement. Congratulations.
I get to speak now, right? No worries. You don't have to introduce me. Thank you. Take a load off. Relax. You guys standing at ease, right? Relax. I wish you weren't looking into the sun. I'll try to get off this podium as quick as possible. But, you know, I do have the Rosende gene. As my family calls it, the Rosende story. Great detail, right, Carlos? I mean, I know. He just wants to get to the end. What's the bottom line? Is it black or red, right? But anyway, good morning, everyone. And it really is an honor and a privilege to be here this morning. I too also attach my warm greetings and regards to those that are visiting us. And I look across our organization. It's about 1,400 strong, about 900 and some, almost 1,000 civilians. So it's kind of a really different Army organization that we're in. And the rest are uniformed soldiers, some of those full-time and some of those traditional Army Reserve soldiers that we call Troop Program Unit soldiers, right, TPUs. But today we are in a battle assembly, so we do have the majority of the organization here, and that's why you see them here standing in front of you in the sun, facing the sun, right? But again, Mr. Lopez, thank you for being here today on behalf of the state and representing us so well in the state. Mr. Benton, Casa Benton, where are you? There you are. Thanks for being here, and thanks for all that you do. I know you get paid a whopping salary. I think you get paid a little bit more than the Army Reserve ambassadors. You know, you do this all out of the goodness of your heart to continue to serve, just like the 3 Army Reserve ambassadors that are here representing the whole Army Reserve ambassador team from our 7 states. And I've had the privilege of working with you and seeing you quite often. And I'm still awed at what you guys do on behalf of the Army, for love of country and for love of service, and to really change those young people's lives, allowing people to understand that the Army is a great pathway for a lot of folks in being able to strengthen your skills, develop yourself to reach your potential, for you to go on and do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's a 3-year stint in the Army, 6-year stint in the Army Reserve, or 37 years, 7 months, and a few days, but who's counting?
I know that it's been a tremendous ride for me, and I would never have thought to be standing here wearing 2 stars if I think back. But today's about the change of command, not about the retirement, right? Right, General Regula? Right? Focused? All right, roger that. So again, I know that I thought that Mr. Sweeney, the Casa Sweeney, was going to be here. I don't see him. I don't think he made it, but thank you. Mayor Klein, thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence, especially on the Moffett team that we assemble on a quarterly basis. And I know that Colonel McHenry and his wife Ellie are here on behalf of DIU as well. And it's been a great ride to be able to sit down in those quarterly meetings and find out what we're doing, because this organization has to be a full citizen within the community in which we live and work. And it's also a reminder to all of those civilians that Army Reserve soldiers are sitting in your organization and you might not even know it. And I guarantee you that they're serving on the weekends and they've gone on deployments and so forth, and you're supporting them. Sometimes you don't even know it. So get out there and find out who's in your organization and who's serving, whether it's in the Army Reserve or one of the other reserve components, because it's the true citizen soldier that makes this country great, and we're privileged to be here. Let me see. Mr. Payne, great to see you. Thanks for being here again. I remember when we were up at Parks, you had a great speech. It's still echoing in my mind, and the connection that you have to the service of that soldier that the building was named after. So thank you for representing Rep. Swalwell, and thank you for being here today. Let me see. We have former commanders. General Ostenberg, thank you for being here today. It's awesome to see you again, and thanks for being here. Let me see. I mentioned General Regua again. Thanks for being here. Where's my other friend here? Oh boy. Well, all of you other general officers that are here, thank you for being here. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out and participating and witnessing this fantastic ceremony. General Moser, thank you for the very kind words. I know that you had to reach real far to get them, but thank you very much. I appreciate it, because my wife and my family that's knows you and is going to be very proud of the words that you said, and they're going to tell me, when did you do all those things? How did that happen? But anyway, I know that I wouldn't be here without my family. And first of all, I have to thank God for the opportunity and the blessings that He has bestowed on me to allow me to lead and command and to be in the Army, in the best Army, on the best country on the planet. And so, I mean, and I think about that. And most of you know, I was born in the United States, and my parents made a decision to flee communist control of their country and to come here and establish themselves here. And just to be able to have the privileges that we have here that most of us never really know that we have, and be able to defend those and make sure that they live on in posterity. So it's a great day to be here. I think of my parents today. I think of my mother-in-law and father-in-law as well too. They weren't too excited when I came home with their daughter, but I think after about 20 years or so, they got used to me, and then maybe about at the 30-year mark, they actually accepted. But I kid around, but they were the most ardent supporters of our family, of my children, and of me. And they were very, very proud of having me in the family, and I continue to think about them and the lessons that they've taught all of us. So, and Juan Carlos, thanks for being here today. I know today's a tough day for you individually, but I really appreciate your presence here today and being the sole surviving representative of that big clan of our family. But thank you very much for being here today. Karen, I look forward to seeing what you do here. I know you're going to have a great ride. Thanks for being here today and for all that you do to support Miles and obviously your children as well. So big shout out to the Davis family that's watching and all of the folks that are watching as well. I know my family's out there, our extended large family. My wife is one of 7, really 8 kids, and they're all on the screen right now. So thanks everybody. I won't name you individually. And thanks for all of your love and support that you've provided me throughout the whole career. Now, this ceremony is really a culmination of an awful lot of work by a lot of people to set up tents and pull chairs and rehearse everything and stand at attention facing the sun and playing music. What do you think of the Army Band, the Wild West? Are they awesome? What about that rendition of our national anthem, right? That was awesome, as always. You guys should go online, look up the 191st Band, and listen to everything that they've done throughout the COVID, because they were piecemealing together individual performances, bringing them together so that we could continue to benefit from the motivational sounds that they produce, both singing, voice, and performance through instruments. So thanks again for everything that you all do, and I will continue to stay plugged in, all right? So just know that I'll be one of your biggest fans. Everything that we do always starts and ends with our soldiers and families, because that's where we come from, that's who support us, and that's why we do the things we do. And so we ask a lot of our soldiers, and particularly their families. They require great sacrifice, as they learn to be without their soldier at times for extended periods of time. And sometimes, unfortunately, the soldier's sacrifice requires an eternal resilience that no one should ever have to face. So I want to recognize that sacrifice today, because all of us here have lost brothers and sisters in arms. And we think of them always, and we think of them often, whether they were fighting in Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere else that the Army has been throughout our lifetime. So let's take a minute and just reflect on that. Thank you. Please keep those Gold Star families in your prayers always. Make it a point, as we face Veterans Day next week, to go out and participate in some local event and talk to the young people around you as to what service is about, what sacrifice is about, and what it really means to serve in honor and provide the posterity of this country that it deserves. So thank you very much for doing that. So I've given you a homework assignment. Everybody write it down. I would be remiss if all of those accomplishments that General Mosier spoke about, if we didn't talk about how that really comes to happen. You know, I was recently in Fredericksburg, Texas, and there's the National Museum of the Pacific War is there. And it covers it greatly. So if you're ever in Texas and you're in the San Antonio area, take that hour-long ride up I-10, get up to Fredericksburg and visit that museum. And it's co-located with the Nimitz Museum, which honors Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz, because he was born and raised in Fredericksburg, Texas. And as we're walking around, there was one comment by General Stilwell that was on one of the panels. And as we were going through the museum, don't ever come to the museum with me and my cousin, okay? Don't do that. Because we read every panel, and we see how it's tied into the panel before, and how it's going to tie into the next panel. So when they tell you that you should get to the museum in about 2 to 3 hours, if you're with the Rosende gang, you get there at opening, you leave right before it closes with a pledge to come back and finish, okay? But anyway, and General Stilwell's comment, and it basically said that the soldier carries his or her woes, but the general carries the woes of all, because we're concerned about every single one. And if you're a true leader, you are. And it reminds me that also, we often walk away saying, boy, so-and-so won the battle, so-and-so won this campaign or whatever, and maybe he led it, or she led it, maybe she helped plan it, created the framework for it, but there were an awful lot of privates, PFCs, sergeants, lieutenants, captains that actually made it work and made it happen. And they'll never be a household name, right? But we know those generals before us. So as we look at the successes that General Mosier was talking about, I want you to remember that I was present, I may be organized, I may be planned, but it was them that executed. So right there stands the perfect example of the outstanding soldiers that we have in our Army. And you see them sitting around and standing around in the back. But the other thing is, I mentioned before that out of our 1,400 members of this organization, we have about 900 plus civilians. And they're the real workhorse also, because they're the full-time staff. When your equipment is broken, or you need a personnel action or something along those lines from the 63rd, more than likely it's one of our civilians that's going to make it happen. And when we look at the challenges that we faced in the pandemic, where most of us could still just take our computer and work from the moon if we wanted to, there were many soldiers, many civilians in our organization that still had to face work, had to face the exposure of commuting and so forth to get into the office in their work bay and pull a wrench and make sure that our equipment was ready to go in the case that we got the call. Because the pandemic wasn't going to stop the bad actors from acting. So we had to stay ready. And those folks had to continue to expose themselves and their families while they drive forward. And unfortunately, we did lose one through COVID-19. And we remember him fondly. He was a great asset. He was a lifelong soldier and a lifelong civilian. So we remember him today as well. But when I got here, there were 3 things that we had to do. We had to transform this organization. We had to integrate the organization because our TPU strength, our traditional soldier strength, was going to double, and we had to make sure that they were integrated into the sections. And so we went through our transformation, we continued to transform, we continued to integrate, and then we continued to operationalize that headquarters as we moved from a regional support command to an operationalized Readiness Division that had real quantifiable and qualifiable results that we had to provide the Army in terms of improving readiness. And so we're still working it, and we're still trying to get through all of the stuff of the effects of the pandemic that kind of slowed us down, kind of threw a little bit more mud into our gears, but we made it happen and continue to start forward. So I just want to thank all of you and all of the civilians that are standing here representing the rest of our civilians throughout our 7 states for the work that you continue to do for the Blood and Fire Division, 63rd Readiness Division located here in Moffett, even though you're located all throughout the 7 states. So I want to make sure that if you're watching, your contribution, your hard work, and your support is not lost. So at this point, all I can do is I can say good luck, my friend Miles Davis. And when I think of Miles Davis, I always think of the jazz guy, right? Miles Davis. I was playing him last night, right? We were playing him on that boombox. But I was thinking about the great opportunity that you have in front of you to continue to push this organization, to continue to fine-tune this operationalization and integration, and being able to really deliver on the quantifiable, qualifiable results that we have to provide the Army Reserve for them to keep moving. So I want to thank you all again for coming and participating and witnessing this fantastic day in the history of the 63rd. You had a hand in it, you participated in it, and hopefully you'll take something back to remember all the soldiers and civilians that work on your behalf to continue to support the Army Reserve. So I ask you, as you go back to your offices and wherever you go, make sure that you continue to support all of those reserve component soldiers that are in your organizations that live in your cities and towns. Thank you very much for being here today. Thanks to the Army Reserve ambassadors for all that you do and the cast. Thank you.
Thank you, General Rosende, for your kind words. We are grateful for your dedication and we wish you great success in your future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Miles A. Davis, Commanding General, 63rd Readiness Division.
Major General Mosher, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your leadership and mentorship as the DCG of America's Army Reserve. Major General Rosende, Al, thank you for all you've done for this division. You've left your mark and truly made a difference, and that's the greatest thing that we can ever do. Godspeed to you and to Martha as you start this next chapter in your life. Remember, no matter how far you travel, or how much time goes by, that you'll always be a part of the 63rd family. Honored guests, families, friends, soldiers, and civilians of the 63rd Readiness Division, it is truly an honor to be here today, assuming command of the 63rd, a division with a storied history, a division that has always stood ready to answer our nation's call from World War II through today. The speech I'll be giving today is a very simple one and a very short one of appreciation and expectation. Appreciation for God who made this day possible, for my wife and life battle buddy, Karen, and my children, Andrew, Ian, and Jennifer, who truly carried the heavy rucksack of my 33 years of service. Kit, I could not have done this without you. For my daughters-in-law, Gabby and Amanda, for the joy you brought to our family with their beautiful grandchildren, Miles, Madeline, Bruce, Amelia, and Mark. To my dad, my mom, my brother, my father-in-law, and mother-in-law, who I know are watching from above, I know you're here with me today. For the NCOs who have always kept me grounded and on the right track, especially First Sergeant Mike Monahan, Command Sergeant Major Joe Haddad, Command Sergeant Major Kyle Russell, Command Sergeant Major Todd Priest, and Command Sergeant Major Brian Potts. I'm here today because of you. To the 63rd Readiness Division staff and support personnel who have made today's ceremony possible. My sincere thanks for a job well done. For the expectation. As noted by William Shakespeare, it is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. Together, we will continue to make the 63rd Readiness Division the standard to which all other divisions are measured. Standards, discipline, and trust. Button Fire 6.
Thank you, Major General Davis. We welcome you and your family to the 63rd Readiness Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Army song, Retirement of the Colors, and the departure of the official parade.
Sing a song to the army of the free. Count brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. Verse and fight for the right and to fill the nation's fight. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Sound up the gates out of strong. For where we go, we will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Wow.
Retire the colors! Take charge of the unit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the change of command ceremony. On behalf of the 63rd Readiness Division Command, we thank you for your support and attendance at today's ceremony. On behalf of Major General and Mrs. Davis, you are cordially invited to join them for refreshments in the James Witkowski Reserve Center Drill Hall.